guys, Kim here. Welcome to Backyard Blooms. In today's video, I have another really exciting plant to share with you today. Since I absolutely love blue and orange in this Westside Garden, I saw this plant at Lowe's and I'm like, you know guys, like I gotta have this. So I bought 3 of these. And this is a red hot poker, but it doesn't look red. Isn't it funny how in the plant world, you can say something looks blue, but it looks purple. And then this is supposed to be like, looks red, but it's clearly orange and yellow. So this one is from Monrovia, and it looks like a real nice, healthy plant. So I'm pretty excited. I do need to come and prune some of them with my Felco 2 pruners. Those are my pruners that I love the most. If you don't have any Felco 2 pruners, I'll share them with you just in a little bit, but they are lovely. And do you see these that are like kind of flopping over? I don't want to like kind of plant this plant and give it a good start, so I'm going to take some of the foliage away too, especially some of the stalks that are just kind of flopping over. So I need to come and prune this up a little bit. But this one is called Papaya Popsicle. Don't you just love that? Like, I love the name and it just fits it so perfect. Papaya Popsicle. It's from Monrovia and it takes full sun, and this is a perennial, and it wasn't badly priced. I bought 3 of them because I like to plant things in 3, 5s, and 7s. And I feel like sometimes if one specimen gets really big, like 4 to 5 feet, like I'm okay just planting one by itself because that's like a big, large specimen. But when I'm planting perennials or annuals, I like to do it in like odd numbers, 3s, 5s, and 7s, or even like a set of 12 if you're doing like a big long hedge. And that way, when they do bloom, for the short period of time that they do bloom, they like give off this just great color when you plant things in masses. So yeah, I learned that from Laura with Garden Answer when I watched her before I even started gardening, and I got hooked on the mass planting. But this plant says it's deer resistant, which is good for me because my golly, the deer have been up into our gardens just even recently, and my neighbor has got little deer poop and ate her annuals in her pot. So I'm just like, the deer pressure is pretty heavy right here. And there's so many little babies, you guys, like just running around with their mamas. Bless their, I mean, I just love to see the deer, but I just don't like them to eat my plants. And you know, I think I'm just gonna break down and buy some corn and put it off, way off into the tree line, and see if they're just happy eating that instead of my plants. I'm gonna give it a try. Heard you're not supposed to do that, but I'm gonna give it a try. Look how gorgeous this hardy hibiscus is behind me. This plant's only supposed to be like, I don't know, 4 feet, but it's definitely way past its 4 feet. It loves this spot. This is a perennial, believe it or not. And the blooms are dinner plate sizes. Look at this. Look how pretty these 2 plants are beside me. This right here will make a good thumbnail, don't you think? With this popsicle plant in front of me, Papaya Popsicle, and this gorgeous hardy hibiscus. This is a summerific series, and this one is called Berry Awesome, and I just love the foliage in the plant on this one. These gorgeous blooms only last 1 day, believe it or not, but there's so many more buds on here that it just really makes up for it. So, you know, I do get like plant droppings on my side, so I have to come, and you saw me a little earlier, like pick up all my little, I call it plant poop. But if I do see like a bud on this and it's already like tomorrow, like I'll have to come and probably pull these 3 off, or they'll fall to the ground. But I try to keep it picked up because I like to keep my garden nice and tidy. I do live in an HOA, so people drive by here and walk by here all the time. So I think that's just part of gardening, is just cleaning up and make sure everything looks nice and tidy, because no one else wants to look at all that stuff that's on your sod, right? And if you had too much on your sod, then it could like kill your sod because it's not getting light. So think about that also. And so back to my little papaya plant right here. I've got 3, it's gorgeous, and let me see if it's got some specs on here. It says, it's a spectacular spikes of tubular flowers, deer resistant, grass-like foliage, So it adds great texture to beds and borders. So even if it's not in bloom, I can come back and cut the stalk off that's not in bloom. That will actually encourage new blooms as well. And the grass looks good too. So it just looks like a kind of like a perennial grass as well. So you got to make sure when you buy perennials that you like the foliage also, because they're going to only bloom just a short period of time. They're not going to bloom like all summer long. But for light, it's 6+ hours of direct sun. Watering low once established. And I did hear from Jenny. Someone asked her, Jenny from Creekside Nursery, asked her about the Red Hot Pokers, that theirs bloomed once and stopped blooming. She said that it needs like a really good amount of water for it to rebloom, just to let you know. And then maturity size is 12 to 14 inches tall and 12 to 18 inches wide. It blooms summer through fall, and its hardiness is -10 to -20. So definitely good for it. Doesn't say a zone on here, but I mean, we never get down in Charlotte, North Carolina, zone 8 where I am at, to -10 or -20. I think the coldest that it gets here for us sometimes might be in the like 17 or 20 degrees, something like that. So nowhere near the hardiness for that. The only thing that I need to worry about my zone is more the heat and humidity of Charlotte, North Carolina. Like this past week, it's been in the hundreds, which I just have to keep up with watering. It's really, really hard for me to keep up with the watering in my containers. Even though I have drip, it just does not seem to be enough for as hot as it is here this month in late June. All right, so I've got my power planter over here on the west side. I have my biotone already. I've got 3 plants to plant, and I usually would put compost in the hole, but when I developed this bed over here, I put 2 to 3 inches of really good compost on top. I scalped the ground. I didn't do a till. I did not till, so I did a no-till garden. So I scalped the grass, which there wasn't much grass over here because we're in between 2 houses, and then I put 2 to 3 inches of compost down, and then 2 to 3 inches of mulch on top of that. So this area right here is really, really happy with compost, so I don't really need to add that into my garden. So I'm just gonna sweep away what little bit of mulch I have right now, and then dig with my power planter, add some biotone, and get these planted. Now, I just did a little clip for Janie. She's asking people to submit for her if you'd like to do that. I did like a little 5-minute video for her, and she asked for tips and tricks. And I feel like my tips and tricks for my zone, since we do have clay holds on to soil. No, clay holds on to water. I'm sorry, clay is soil. Well, it holds on to water. So we have to like amend our soil. So whenever I dig a new hole, I use compost, which I already have a layer of compost. So whenever I dig my hole, the compost is going to get into the ground. Then that was number 1 trick. And then number 2 was to add the biotone. I really believe in my biotone. I think it helps with their healthy roots. It gets them started. And then 3 is whenever you plant, you got to plant 1 inch to 1.5 inches above the ground, because that way it creates a good drainage. I never ever take all the soil out and put a different type of soil in. You want to use at least 80 to 85% of your original soil. And actually, because I'm mounding mine up a little bit, I don't remove any of the soil at all. That's just the way I've been planting, and it works really good for me. So if you are planting in hard clay, remember that, because it does hold on to water. And then my last tip for her was to add drip, because we are so hot here. And in addition to that, like at nights, we don't really cool off that much, and these plants just don't get a break. They just don't get a break at all in the summertime. Don't you all love this? Isn't it pretty? So let's go get planting. So this is the gorgeous flowers, the hardy hibiscus close up. And then I'm just moving a little bit further away. This one is on the corner of my front side garden. And then we're gonna trim this holly up at some point, but it's so tall, I'm not even sure I can get up that high anymore. And then this is the start of the Westside Garden right here. So I'm trying to back up just a little bit to show you the Westside Garden. Like I said, I'm in between two houses. We really don't have that much space between here. But I designed this garden because it's on a hill and it kept on eroding. So the more plants that I have in here, the less erosion of this hill. So that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. But I have some gorgeous cone flowers that are so pretty, and the pink cashmere superbina. I have a sun hosta. And then we have a Scentlandia sweet spire. This blue right here is playing the blue salvia. Yes, this was an annual for us, but however, it's a perennial for us. So this came back. This is the second year of this plant right here. I had lots of it, you guys, last year, and I had just too much, so I had to pull some of it up. And then you can see this yellow coreopsis is still looking really pretty. I think it's happier over here because it gets more shade. And then this is where I had my orange, you guys, but I don't have very many blooms right now. So I need to come back and cut these stalks off so they'll rebloom. And then I tried to find some more of these at Lowe's and they did not have it. So I'm on the look for these, but I do have another, I do have another spider lily up here that's really, really pretty, and it's orange as well. Look at this. Isn't that really pretty, you guys? So I got lots of little buds coming out from that, and that one has, I think it's pretty much divided by twice. So I'd like to get some more of that too. I think that's actually really pretty. My honeysuckle up there is in bloom. Look at that. So anyway, so I have a lot of orange. I have a lot of orange right here and a lot of blue. And then it's kind of divided by my lilac hardy hibiscus. So I'm thinking I need more orange way over on this side. So that's where these red hot pokers are going to come in, because then I'll have some orange here from these daylilies and that tiger lily. And then I'm going to have this different variety and different texture over there. I think it's going to look really pretty. So, you know, you guys, I only bought this orange because I loved it. This was a happy mistake. I didn't realize that this orange was going to be so pretty against those blue buddleias. I had no idea. But like I said, like, I buy plants because I like them. Now, do I place them like in a spot that for height? Like, I put everything taller in the back, of course, because if you put it something tall up here, then you're not going to see it. But I do love how everything is up on a hill and it just displays the flowers really, really pretty. So we'll come and deadhead these. This is just a spent one too. I'll show you a picture of when they were just absolutely gorgeous. And then I just like the extra texture. So I do like this one in a melon coneflower too. It's one of my favorites also. You can see that it comes out more melony, yellowishy, and then kind of fades into like a real light yellow. But it also looks real pretty with this Pungster Blue Buddleia. I can see a moth. Look at the moth. It's just jumping around from place to place. It won't be still. All right, so let's come down here and let's see where we're going to place this. I like to put things in place and then step back to see if it looks good that way. But I felt like I need something more in this area or even over here kind of peeking out. I think it would be pretty over on this side. I do have some snapdragons right here, but I could move these snapdragons, or I think even just adding it into the spot right here would be okay. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, is kind of plant them all three right in there. And like I said, when they're in bloom, especially next year when they come out of dormancy next year and they get really rooted in, they're just gonna look really, really pretty that second year. Look at this hydrangea tree. Isn't it pretty? I put this, you guys, there on purpose because, let me see. If you can see the window. Like, I don't really like to use a lot of blinds when I don't have to. Of course, my bedroom I do, bathrooms I do, but there's a window right there. Well, that is in our living room window. So by putting this right here, at least I get to look at this gorgeous flower instead of looking at just a plain siding of a house. So that's why I did that. And I did it also with this magnolia tree. This is a little gem magnolia tree. It's really, really tall, but I can prune it up and make sure that it's not limbed up like a lot right there by that window, and I can like get through it if I'd like to. But it lets a lot of light in still because it's not really thick. It's kind of an airy type magnolia tree. So I put that there on purpose for privacy as well, but still something beautiful to look at. And by the way, look at this gorgeous hardy hibiscus. I think this one's called Candy Crush. Cone flowers over there, really pretty. Those bright colors would be pretty over here on the Westside Garden. Bees are loving this Russian sage. This is not a proven winner's plant. The denim and lace Russian sage did not do well for me in my zone. So this one I think is called Baby Jean Russian sage. All right, so there's my plants. I'm gonna put them in place and then I'm gonna show you guys if you like it. I need to go get my Felco 2 pruners and prune it up. Now, I don't really know, you guys. Like, you guys can help me. This is the first time that I'm planting this. This variety also says that it's the Papaya Popsicle, but it's yellow. So I don't know if it starts out yellow and then it turns into orange. If you guys have experience, will you let me know, or did this have the wrong tag on it? I'm just kind of curious. I bought this one because it had lots of new blooms. See, new buds over here. But that's what it's gonna look like close up. Isn't it beautiful? Doesn't it look good with the one in melon coneflower there too? It looks really, really pretty. And just to let you know, I got to figure this out too. This right here, this is the new sod that I just laid down from, that's the Tiff Turf from Super Sod. It had like a silverishy sheen to it, which I know is fungus, and I'm gonna have to like go get some grass fungicide for that. And hopefully, I'm pretty sure it's gonna come back because this happened to my neighbor on the other side. And then of course, I always put fungicide down, but I always do it in March. And this was just newly laid. So there's that story, if you're wondering how come it looks like that. That's why. So yeah, it's hard to see right now because they're not at their full capacity. But like I said, I think next year they're going to be like a little bit more bright. But I like it there. And I really like that it's close to these one in a melon coneflowers too. So I think I'm going to put the yellow one in the middle just in case it is not the right variety. If you guys can help me out and just kind of let me know if that's the case. If they all start out yellow, because this one's new for me, but I love that the texture is different. So make sure when you're planting stuff together that it's a different type of flower, that it's a different texture. Like all of those things when you're painting on your canvas really, really does make a difference. So just to let you know, these are my favorite gloves. These H2O, I have all the links to Amazon. And these are my Felco 2 pruners. Love these. If you don't have a good pair of these, you really need some. I actually have the link on Amazon as well. Amazon price is really not bad at all for this price. My Biotone. If you have a hard time finding this at nurseries, I have this on Amazon as well. But don't never forget this step in your compost as well. And this is my auger right here from Power Planter. The auger and the drill comes together. This is the Easy Dig Kit. And you guys, I could not have gardened without this. I promise you. It's been a lifesaver. Into a little bit of my daffodils too, so I'll just replant this right next to it. I need to just kind of squeeze it out of the container. I did water this really good too, you guys, before I'm planting. They're not happy in their containers right now. It's not really rooted in very well, so that's great. Early and do this, you guys, and I didn't. I sat there and drank my coffee, took Sasha for a walk, then I ended up talking to my neighbor. My neighbor, the one that originally lives next door to me, I helped them put a drip in when they put in their flower beds, and then when my new neighbors moved in, they didn't know anything about the drip, so I was talking to her about the drip, and I need to go get her a timer and a few pieces so she can hook it up on drip so she doesn't have to water every single day. Mix it up really good. I don't have just nothing but hard clay when you mix it up with a good handful of compost. So this is a little bit rooted down, so if you want to, you can just kind of pull these apart a little bit. That way they won't go round and round in the pot. You're planting in the heat like this, it's best to reduce your plant size a little bit, and then that way the energy will go more into the roots and not even the flowers. Actually, it's probably even best if you completely remove all the flowers off, but you know, that's no fun, right? I don't want to do that, but I'm going to try to reduce it a little bit, like so. And I'll just let this jazzberry kind of come around this plant right here. All right, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing to these two. And like, I'm not gonna see a lot of growth on it this year, but I think next year it's gonna be really, really, really pretty. So So I hope you found a brand new flower that you love. I do love this red hot poker. I've been wanting these one in my garden for a couple of years now, so I'm glad that I found them at Lowe's and just kind of took a plunge. And the reason I went to Lowe's was to find those more daylilies of the Primal Scream. They didn't have any of that color. So be on the lookout for that Primal Scream at Lowe's or any other nurseries. It's a beautiful, beautiful daylily, and it shows up so nicely in the garden. And I'm gonna love this Papaya Red Hot Poker too. I think it's gonna be a pretty addition. Like I said, I like the texture of it. It's a different color, a different texture. And of course, once the blooms are out, it's got really a nice grassy structure as well. And it's gonna really help in this structure right here, because the more plants I put in here, the more erosion is not gonna happen to this hill, and the more plants you put, you have less weeds too, if you did not know that. So stuff them in there. I want to thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing my videos. It helps me. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.